Hi guys, thank you all for coming. I'm Shawn Glover with Pumptec, and today I want to talk about Pumptec high efficiency pumps and does efficiency really matter? So first off, let's talk a little about what is efficiency. So the definition of pump efficiency is defined as the ratio of water horsepower output from the pump to the shaft horsepower input for the pump. The efficiency of a particular pump is determined by the pump flow rate and the total head pressure. So Pumptec pumps are 90% volumetric efficient, and the under full load, and the key word there is under full load, because there's no shortage of pumps out there that are advertising their 90% volumetric efficiency, but they're not necessarily under full load. So what that basically means is they're testing their volumetric efficiency as the fluid comes out of the hose at zero head pressure. So when Pumptec advertises their volumetric efficiency, it's with the fluid coming out the nozzle at full pressure that is utilized for your cleaning process. And how does that what does that 90% efficiency mean? So basically what it means is, if you've got a wand that's putting an output at 500 psi of about 1 gallon a minute, and your pump's actually creating 2 gallons a minute, what that means is that your volumetric efficiency is 50%, okay? So a simple way to measure volumetric efficiency or demonstrate it is right here on just a basic nozzle chart. So one of the common pressures utilized in the cleaning industry is 500 psi with an O2 jet. So you can use the nozzle chart to determine 500 psi with an O2 jet. You need an actual output of 0.71 gallons per minute. So if you've got a pump that's creating 1.4 gallons a minute, and you only need 0.71, 50% of the energy that's being demanded to create that performance is actually going out through bypass. So it's just wasted energy and not actually utilized in the cleaning performance. So what makes Pumptec pumps so efficient? So number one is our engineering. A lot of pumps, as you've probably seen in the industry, the pump head actually is set on the shaft of the motor. So the motor's carrying the weight of that pump head. So what that means is now the motor has to overcome that additional weight on it before it ever actually gets to creating the performance that you need to utilize for your cleaning process. So in the Pumptec design, we actually engineer it so that our pump head is mounted to the end bell of our motor. So there's no weight. We get complete 100% free motion out of our motor shaft, which makes us truly efficient. So we have no inefficiencies in our engineering and design. Another one is we have specific application design. So Pumptec does not manufacture generic pumps that are utilized across multiple industries. We specify the pumps based on the performances that the industry asks for. So these specific designs mean that we're always going to be more efficient, because we don't need this pump to work for a whole nother industry or for a whole nother application. We're looking for the pump to actually satisfy the demand and performances that you guys need in the industry. Yeah, another thing that makes a difference is flow usage versus pump flow generated. So a lot of efficiency sometimes is tested with the fluid that's coming out of your nozzle at a specific pressure. But that's not how you determine efficiency, because the pump is still generating more fluid. It's just bypassing that fluid off. So Pumptec, when we advertise our 90% volumetric efficiency, we're actually taking the actual fluid the pump is generating at a specific pressure so that we actually have a true volumetric efficiency. Now, just as an example, from the nozzle chart, at 500 psi with an O2 jet requires 0.71 GPM. A Pumptec pump actually generates 0.72 GPM. So it's extremely efficient. That's why we're 90 plus volumetric efficient, because we're actually very close to 100% efficient on a lot of the Pumptec pumps. And if you have any questions at all, please interrupt me and ask. Another reason is precision manufacturing. Whenever manufacturing a plunger pump, you have to make sure that your plungers have smooth bores, your extrusion has no roughness in it, because that creates inefficiencies that will cost you performance at your wand. So all Pumptec pumps, extrusion and machining and components inside are finely calibrated and manufactured so that there's no restriction created within the pump head. And plumbing is an extremely important part of any portable extractor. If you use too large of a diameter outlet hose, if you use too small of an inlet hose, if you use too many 90-degree elbows or too many brass fittings, this all equates to inefficiencies in your plumbing system. So one of the service Pumptec offers to our manufacturers is we'll actually plumb the system for you. We design it, we plumb it to your specifications, and then before the pump ever leaves our facility, it's 100% tested, volumetric efficiency documented, performance documented. So we know when it gets to you, it's 100% perfect. So why does efficiency matter? Well, number one is amps. So if you're utilizing your motor to create a lot of flow that you're not actually using in your cleaning process, you're drawing more amps. And in comparison, there's another pump in the industry very similar to a Pumptec that does 500 psi and 0.72 gallons per minute and draws 4.8 amps. The Pumptec pump does that exact same performance at under 3 amps. Because we don't have any inefficiencies in our design or in our motor speed, we don't have any additional amp draw. And that amp draw is extremely important for what we do because we're limited to a 15 amp breaker on these portable extractors. And we have a lot of other components and vacuums and heaters that we need to utilize in this system that require higher amps. And if we go over that amp draw, you're blowing breakers in the field. It's creating problems for you that you don't need. The other reason is size. Size is very important in this industry because you can tell by some of the carpet extractors we have a very small component tray. And then we have a lot that we're trying to fit in that component tray. So with the efficiency of the Pumptec pump, we can typically be half the size of any other competitive pump at the exact same performance, and we can fit easily into these portable extractors, make them easy to service, give the manufacturers an opportunity to install other components that are going to benefit you in the cleaning industry and not wasting a lot of space because of inefficiencies. And then motor life. Motor life can truly be affected by inefficiencies. Using the example of the higher amps at the same performance, what's happening at that higher amps is it's actually wearing that motor out prematurely. And that comes at an annual pumping cost loss. So it's going to cost you in downtime. It's going to cost you in the labor to install the new motor. It's going to cost you in the actual cost of the motor. And it's going to cost you in actual energy usage, which is not something we typically care a lot about because we're usually playing on somebody else's energy bill, but it's still an important factor to consider. So in closing, efficiency matters, and when you're searching for the right pump for your needs in the future, it's important to ask these questions so that the pumps that you purchase are actually going to give you a very long and satisfactory life. So, anybody have any questions? Can I answer your questions for you?
Yeah, there are.
Well, and there's no 100% win when it comes to that efficiency because you're gonna determine your volumetric efficiency at your max performance. So at 500 psi with a specific jet. But like you said, we're doing different jobs. We're doing upholstery. We're doing draping. You know, you might be doing a small spot on a oriental rug where you don't want that 500 psi. So you're gonna end up turning that pressure down. Now, when you turn that pressure down, you're going to have some drop in volumetric efficiency, but it's actually a very small percentage because you're still at that max performance where you're not wasting a lot of water you're not using. And when you turn your pressure down, your flow requirement actually goes up a little, and your motor speed will actually speed up to compensate for that. Keep in mind, pumps only know flow. Okay, they have a pressure rating, but they only create flow. Until you put a specific nozzle behind that flow, there is no pressure. So you can actually modify your nozzle to a smaller nozzle. Put a smaller nozzle on, and you're going to decrease your output flow on your wand, on your detail tool, and just bypass a little more fluid, and you can kind of control that output flow onto your upholstery that way. And one of the challenges you have is when you're buying standard detail tools in the industry, they come with a specific order, typically an 03. Well, that 03 is larger than what you're using to clean the carpets. So you're putting out a lot more fluid. So if you simply change that nozzle to, say, a 1.5 orifice instead of that 03, you're going to cut your fluid down, because the rule of thumb is half the flow, 4 times less pressure, or vice versa. If you double the flow, you get 4 times more pressure. So we can cut that nozzle size in half. We're already turning our pressure down, so we don't care about any reduction in pressure on that, and we can control how much fluid we're putting on that upholstery that way. Electric pumps, yeah, we don't do truck mounts, no. But unfortunately, because we work with electric pumps, and everything you do in this industry is to try and live up to that truck mount performance. So that's what Pumptec works really hard to do, is to create pump systems that can give you that close to that truck mount performance without having to actually buy the truck mount, because there are a lot of people that they prefer the portable extractors. So. All right, well, thank you so much for coming, and thanks to KleenRite for putting this together and giving us an opportunity to speak. And if you have any questions afterwards, please come on up and see me. Thank you.